Hello students, I welcome you back to the channel of Agri Clarity by Clarity for Sure. This is part 2 of Principles of Aquaculture. You can go and check part 1 and then you can come to this if you haven't already. Aquaculture is not merely the cultivation of fish. It's an intricate web of technical terms, strategies and systems, each with its own rhythm and rhyme. From the tiniest fish seed to the vast grow-out systems, from trophic levels to stocking density, every concept holds significance, not just for farmers and researchers, but for you, the aspirant preparing to serve in the agricultural sector. If you are an IBPS AFO or NABARD aspirant, it's essential for you to understand. With India's blue economy on the rise and policies like PM Matsya Sampada Yojana driving change, awareness of aquaculture's backbone is now a decisive edge in the exam room. So in today's video, we dive deep. We'll begin by demystifying key aquaculture terminologies, laying a strong conceptual foundation. Then we'll explore the types of aquaculture classified, salinity, intensity, and many more, helping you understand not just what aquaculture is, but how and why it functions across diverse Indian landscapes, from freshwater ponds in Bihar to brackish mangroves in the Sundarbans and vast marine cages along the Konkan coast. I hope you remember this mnemonic which I had taught you, Swift Prel, to remember the principles of aquaculture, right? Let's move on to the next thing. First of all, let's explore some key terms that you must know in aquaculture. So, number one is fish seed. Fertilized fish eggs are referred to as fish seeds. In simpler terms, they are the baby fish used to populate new ponds in fish farming. It includes all early life stages, which we will be discussing. The term seed is a technical term in fish farming that refers to the juvenile life stages of fish, including hatchling, spawn, fry, and fingerling. We'll be discussing all of them. So next we are going to discuss juvenile stages. Number one, hatchling. The newly hatched fish often still attached to the yolk sac, right? They are known as hatchlings. So the yolk sac will hang beneath the larva and provide nutrition for 2 to 3 days. At this stage, the mouth has not yet formed, so the hatchlings cannot feed externally. Next is fry. Small fish that have absorbed the yolk sac and can swim and feed independently. They measure about 1 to 2 centimeter in length. Those are known as fry. Okay students, let's go to fingerling. Fingerling is when the fry will grow to about 10 to 15 centimeter. That is the size of a finger. So the name fingerling. They are slightly larger than juveniles, as you can see. So fingerlings are those which are appropriate for stocking in ponds. It will take usually 30 to 60 days for fry to reach fingerling size. Next we have stocking density. It is the number of fish stocked per unit area or volume of water. It's a critical parameter that influences growth, water quality and survival rates. Next we have grow out system. The stage in aquaculture where juvenile fish, fingerlings, are raised to market size. It includes various systems like ponds, cages, raceways, and recirculating aquaculture systems. Next, we have trophic levels. In aquaculture, trophic levels indicate the position of organism in the food chain. For example, phytoplankton are primary producers, while carnivore fish like katla occupy higher trophic levels. Next is feeding regimen. This refers to the schedule, quantity and type of feed given to fish. A balanced feeding regimen ensures optimal growth, better feed conversion ratio, that is FCR, and minimal waste. Next is hatchery management. Hatchery management involves the controlled breeding, incubation, egg collection and rearing of fish larvae. It ensures the availability of healthy and disease-free fish seed for aquaculture operations. Next is harvesting, the process of collecting mature fish from the culture system. It can be partial or complete and must be done carefully to avoid stress or injury to the fish. Last but not the least, we have integrated multi-trophic aquaculture, IMTA. IMTA is a sustainable farming method where species from different trophic levels like fish, shellfish, and seafood are cultivated together. Waste from one species serves as input for another, enhancing resource efficiency and environmental sustainability. Right? So we are done with the terms. I hope you will remember all of these for your examination. Now let's go to the types of aquaculture in detail. Number one is on the basis of salinity. So the first one is freshwater aquaculture. This involves the farming of fish in freshwater sources like ponds, lakes, rivers and reservoirs. That means water with no salinity. Common species include katla, mrigal, rohu, silver carp, grass carp, common carp. Next we will talk about brackish water aquaculture. This type is practiced in estuaries and coastal lagoons where the salinity is less than 30 ppt, typically in mangrove areas also. The species like fishes, shrimp, crabs and mollusks are farmed here. Next is marine water farming, that is mariculture. It is the farming of fish in seawater, usually in coastal areas or open sea cages. So the common species that are grown here are fish, marine shrimp, shellfish, cobia, grouper, sea bass. Okay, next we will talk about on the basis of intensity of inputs and stocking density. So the first one being extensive aquaculture. This is a low input system. Fish are grown in natural or semi-natural water bodies with minimal feeding and management. So no supplemental feeding or fertilization is required. Yield is 500 to 2000 kg per hectare. The survival is low. Investment is also low, as you know, and income is also minimum. Then we have semi-intensive fish farming system where there is moderate management. So here both natural productivity and supplementary feeding are used. So the yield is 3 to 10 ton per hectare. So the survival is high. Next is intensive fish farming system. This is a high input, high output system. Fish are stocked at high densities. Okay. So around 10 to 50 fish per cubic meter. There is full feeding with formulated feed and water quality control is done. Management of disease is also done. So the yield is going to be 15 to 100 ton per hectare. The investment is also high and the return is also obviously going to be high, right? Next we have on the basis of number of species stocked for farming. So it is monoculture if only one species is reared, like tilapia, catfish, carps, shrimp. Next is polyculture. If two or more different fish species or fish along with other aquatic animals like shrimp or prawn are farmed, then it is called polyculture. Species with different habitats and food preferences are stocked to minimize competition. Higher yield than monoculture in freshwater carp farming. Obviously, right? So let's discuss quickly the parameter on which the different types of fish farming have been divided, right? So first is extensive fish farming. We just now discussed the pond size will be large pond 1 to 5 hectare. Semi-intensive we will have small pond, that is 0.5 to 1 hectare, and intensive farming we will have small pond, tanks, raceways. So the stocking density for extensive fish farming is less than 5000 fish per hectare. For semi-intensive it is around 15,000 fish per hectare, and for intensive it is 10 to 50 fish per cubic meter. So the feeding regimen, let's talk about it. In extensive, no supplemental feeding is required. So the natural food sources are going to suffice. For semi-intensive fish farming, some supplemental feeding is required. For intensive farming, fish are fed formulated feed regularly to ensure optimal growth and high yield. Next, we have fertilizers. So, in case of extensive, fertilizers are not applied or are very minimal. In case of semi-intensive, it is used to enhance natural food production, and in case of intensive, it is used regularly to maintain water quality and promote growth. Often it is combined with water treatments. Next, let's discuss pesticides. In case of extensive, it is rarely used. In case of semi-intensive, it is occasionally used to control pests or diseases. And in case of intensive, it is frequently used to manage pests, diseases and unwanted organisms. Let's talk about water quality. In case of extensive, there is no control. Water quality is largely left to nature depending on the ecosystem. And in case of semi-intensive, there is some basic management involved, some control over water quality using aeration or natural filtering methods. And in case of intensive, it is highly controlled. Regular monitoring and adjustment of water happens. Quality is checked using aerators, filters and treatment is done. Next is yield. In case of extensive, it is 500 to 2000 kg per hectare. In case of semi-intensive, it is 3 to 10 ton per hectare. And in case of intensive, it is very high, that is 15 to 100 ton per hectare, right? Or it can be more than this as well. The survival rate is low for extensive, semi-intensive it is high, and for intensive also it is high. Labor and investment, in case of extensive it is low. For semi-intensive it is moderate, and for intensive it is high. Obviously that is why you get return also high on this. And for profitability also the same thing applies. Okay. Now let's go to another classification on the basis of enclosure used for culture. This is a very important thing you should remember. A lot of questions has been asked from this area. Cage culture is the first one. Okay. Cage culture is a system where fish are confined in mesh enclosures or cages that float in open water bodies like rivers, lakes, reservoirs. Countries such as Japan, China and USA have well developed cage culture systems. A variety of species including carps, tilapia and catfish can be cultured in cages. So what is the advantage? Utilizes existing water bodies, low capital cost and easy farm expansion, simpler stock management and monitoring compared to pond culture. What are the disadvantages? Let's have a look at them as well. Stock is vulnerable to external water quality problems, right? Because it is in natural water, so algal blooms, low oxygen, this all can affect the stock. Stock is more vulnerable to fish eating predators such as water rats and birds. Growth rates are significantly influenced by ambient water temperatures. Next we have pen culture. Pen culture involves enclosing a part of natural water body, okay, on all sides, but we will not enclose the bottom. Understood? So water volume is enclosed on all sides except the bottom. So what happens? So what happens is that you will be allowing free water circulation. It's a hybrid of pond and cage culture. We will discuss the pond culture in some time. The natural lake bottom serves as the pen's base, providing food through benthic fauna. Polyculture can also be practiced. So unlike cages, pens are anchored to the bottom and do not have a synthetic base. Fish are cultured directly over the natural substrate. Okay, let's talk about the advantages. Space utilization, higher stocking density than pond culture. Predator safety, excludes predators within the pen. And species variety, suitable for multiple species. Ease of harvest, more controllable than natural waters. Cost effective, larger and cheaper to build than cages. Natural food supply, access to benthic resources for fish, so they can feed on that. Disadvantages of pen culture. High oxygen and water flow demand, requires constant oxygen and water movement. Really, food dependence, relies heavily on artificial feed. Food losses, some feed is lost to currents, though less than in cages. Pollution, accumulation of fish waste can increase BOD and pollute water. Disease spread, High stocking density accelerates disease transmission, leading to potential mortality. Then there is theft risk. Fish in enclosed areas are more vulnerable to poaching, though less than in cages. Now let's look at these diagrams, right? You can see how cage culture and pen culture are different from each other, right? So now we will discuss the key differences between the two. In case of pen culture, what happens? There are large open enclosures in shallow water. In cage culture, it is smaller and it is confined in deeper waters. Okay. In case of structure, pen culture is larger, supported by bamboo, wood or metal frames with netting. In case of cage culture, it is smaller, often round or square, made of metal or PVC frames with netting. Water exchange. In case of pen culture also there is free water exchange, and in case of cage culture also. Right. Location. Pen culture is located in shallow parts of lakes and cage culture is located in deeper waters like bays, estuaries or offshore. Environmental factors. So in pen culture it is prone to water quality fluctuations, and in cage culture it is more stable because due to better water movement. What are the advantages? More space for fish to swim, less overcrowding. It is easier to manage in deeper waters, higher stocking densities. The common material used we have already discussed: bamboo, wood, metal for frames, netting mesh, right? Galvanized steel, PVC, aluminium frames, and nylon and polyethylene netting for the cage culture. Alright. So remember this box. Some questions can be asked from here. I hope you will remember. Now let's move to pond culture. Pond culture is the most common method of fish farming where water is maintained in an enclosed area through artificial dikes or bunds. Okay. It is mostly used in India. So the types of ponds include nursery ponds for fry, rearing ponds for fingerlings, grow out ponds for adult fish. Okay, so these ponds vary in shape, size and water or soil quality. You can look at the picture to have a better idea about pond culture. Ponds can be earthen, cemented or lined with polythene depending on the requirement. The common species that are raised here are rohu, katla, mrigal, common carp, tilapia. Here we have better control over water quality, stocking density, feeding and disease. The limitation is that it requires land, water and regular maintenance. Okay, let's move to raceway culture. Raceway culture is a flow-through system where water flows continuously through long, narrow tanks or channels because it is supposed to support denser fish populations. It is commonly made of concrete or fiberglass. Now there are two types of raceway ponds. Number one is linear type. Ponds arranged in sequence. Water enters each pond in large volumes, but disease in the first pond can spread to others through shared water. Number two is lateral type. Ponds laid out in parallel in a lateral or parallel type. The volume of water entering each pond is smaller, but a fresh supply of water is always ensured and no transfer of disease from one pond to another. So you can see lateral type is more advantageous. Okay, so let's discuss the last one. Recirculating aquaculture system, that is RAS. A recirculating aquaculture system, RAS is an aquaculture system that reuses water with less than 10% replacement per day. It continuously treats and recycles water to sustain high stocking densities and growth rates using components like mechanical and biological filtration, pumps and holding tanks. Additional treatment may be included for water quality and disease control. Right. So we have discussed many types of classification. Some of them are left. We will be discussing it in part 3. Stay tuned for that. And now answer some practice questions. Question number 1. Which of the following is a characteristic feature of cage culture? Here are your options. Look at them and choose the correct option. Question number 2. What is a major disadvantage of cage culture if not managed properly? Question number 3. What is the primary characteristic of a raceway culture system? Question number 4. Which of the following materials is commonly used to construct raceways? Question number 5. What does the term stocking density refer to in aquaculture? Question number 6. What does partial harvesting in aquaculture mean? Question number 7. Which of the following shows the correct chronological order of fish seed development? You will be able to answer all of them. Write your answers in the comment section. For more such content, subscribe to the channel. Join our initiative of IBPS AFO 24/7 test series by Clarity. In this test series, you will get daily subject-wise test, multi-level question, time-based QRE practice questions, weekly full-length test, and also detailed explanation. Along with that, you will get all the current affair related agricultural questions as well. Get yourself enrolled now.